learning about a shift in the Earth's inner core that sounds like the plot of a Hollywood blockbuster. Scientists say our planet's solid core, which is actually disconnected from the rest of the Earth's layers, may actually have stopped rotating and could even reverse course.
The Earth has a magnetic field that's like a superhero shield, shielding us from all sorts of space dangers. This field creates the beautiful northern and southern lights, also known as auroras, and helps animals like birds navigate their way around. Today we're going to talk about something that's freaking out scientists. But wait, how does this magnetic field work? Well, it's all thanks to the molten iron that's churning around in the Earth's core. As this molten iron moves, it generates electric currents that produce an electromagnetic force. The force then acts on charged particles like electrons and protons, which are constantly bombarding us from space. So here's the deal. The northern magnetic pole is moving like crazy, speeding towards Siberia at a rate of around 50 kilometers a year. Meanwhile, the south magnetic pole is shifting, albeit at a much slower rate. And what's the point of all this craziness? That's a bit of a mystery, but experts believe it has to do with changes deep within the Earth's core or mantle. Now, this rapid movement of the magnetic pole might not sound like a big deal, but it could have some pretty wild consequences. For example, it could mess with navigation systems for airplanes and ships, which could lead to some major accidents. And think about all the animals that rely on a magnetic field for navigation during migration. They could be lost. You might be wondering, how can a shift in the magnetic field possibly have any effect on animals? Well, it turns out that many creatures, like birds, sea turtles, and certain fish, rely on the Earth's magnetic field to navigate and migrate. They've got these fancy magnetoreceptors in their bodies that allow them to sense the magnetic field and use it as a guide for their movements. If the magnetic field suddenly shifts, it could throw these animals off course and they could become disoriented and lost. This could be a huge problem for their survival, as they might not be able to find their way back to their breeding grounds or locate their food sources. Plus, if the magnetic field changes, it could also impact the behaviour of animals that use it for other purposes, like hunting or avoiding predators. Any significant shift in the Earth's magnetic field has the potential to mess up the entire ecosystem and have a ripple effect throughout the food chain. From airplanes to smartphones, our technology relies on accurate navigation, but with the Earth's magnetic poles on the move, what does that mean for our gadgets? Those navigation systems in planes, ships and cars that tell you where you are and where you're going use GPS, which is super accurate, but sometimes it doesn't work well in places where there aren't many satellites or where there are obstacles like mountains or buildings. That's where magnetic compasses come in as a backup. They use the Earth's magnetic field to tell you which way is north, south, east and west. But if the magnetic field changes a lot, like if the magnetic north pole moves, then the compass could point you in the wrong direction. That could be bad if you're flying a plane or sailing a ship. Some navigation systems also use magnetic sensors to help figure out which way the vehicle is facing. If the magnetic field changes too much, then those sensors might not work right and could give the wrong information about which way the vehicle is pointing. So basically, if the Earth's magnetic field changes too much, it could mess up your navigation system and cause all sorts of problems. This can even mess up our satellite systems responsible for taking pictures of the planet and helping us stay connected. Now, here's the thing. Satellites in low Earth orbit, which are the ones that take pictures of the Earth and help us with communication, are particularly vulnerable to the effects of solar radiation. The charged particles can cause all sorts of problems, like messing up the electronics on board, disrupting communication systems, or even making the satellite lose control and crash. As a result, if the Earth's magnetic field were to change significantly, it may mess with how the charged particles interact with the magnetic field. This could lead to an increase in the number of particles that make it through the shield and reach the satellites in orbit. And that could be a big problem for us. You know that moment when you're watching TV and suddenly the power goes out? Well, guess what? it could be because of the Earth's magnetic poles. They're like massive magnets that can mess with our power grids. When those magnetic poles shift, they can send electric currents surging through the power grid like a rock thrown into a pond, making ripples. These currents can mess with the voltage and frequency of the electrical power, causing your electronics to go haywire or even causing a blackout. Are you a fan of light shows and natural wonders? Then let's talk about auroras. They are these mesmerising and magical displays of light that you can see in the night sky. It's like a free light show put on by nature itself. But have you ever wondered how these spectacular displays are created? Well, it all starts with the harmful solar winds and charged particles that come from the sun. These particles get trapped in the Earth's magnetic field, and when they collide with the Earth's atmosphere, they create the breathtaking colours of the auroras. Coming to the problem at hand, the magnetic field plays a crucial role in directing the charged particles towards the poles where the auroras are formed. But when the magnetic poles of the Earth shift, it could have an impact on these spectacular light shows. If the magnetic poles shift, the auroras could shift too. They could become less frequent, less intense, or even disappear altogether in some regions. Imagine not being able to witness these mesmerising displays of light anymore. It would be such a shame. When the magnetic poles shift, it can weaken the magnetic field and allows more radiation to reach the Earth's surface. This can affect our climate in several ways. For example, increased radiation can lead to more cloud formation, which in turn can affect the amount of sunlight that reaches the Earth's surface. This could lead to cooler temperatures in some areas and warmer temperatures in others. Apart from that, increased radiation can also affect the Earth's atmosphere, leading to changes in the composition of gases like carbon dioxide and methane. This, in turn, can have an impact on the planet's greenhouse effect and contribute to climate change. If you're a surfer, you might want to grab your surfboard and listen up, because I have some news for you. Did you know that the Earth's magnetic field has a major impact on the ocean's currents that create those perfect waves we love to ride? The salt water in the ocean interacts with the magnetic field, creating a circular motion that generates large ocean currents like the Gulf Stream. These currents play a crucial role in regulating our climate and transporting heat across the planet. These changes could also impact our favourite surf sports. Surfers know that specific current patterns create the best waves, and if these currents change, the size and quality of our waves could be affected. And that's not all. Changes in water temperature could also have consequences for marine life that rely on specific conditions to survive. Whether you're a surfer or just a lover of the ocean, it's important to pay attention to what's happening with our magnetic field. You might be wondering how the shifting of the magnetic poles could have any impact on earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. But here's the deal. When the magnetic poles shift, it weakens the Earth's magnetic field, allowing the flow of molten iron in the Earth's core. This, in turn, could potentially lead to changes in the Earth's mantle and crust. Some scientists believe that these changes in the mantle and crust could trigger earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. It's not entirely clear how this would happen, but one theory is that the movement of molten rock between the Earth's surface is influenced by the magnetic field. So when the field weakens or changes, it could potentially impact this movement and lead to geological activity. The Earth's magnetic poles are on the move, but why? Well, the magnetic field that surrounds our planet is created by the flow of molten iron deep in the Earth's core. However, the exact reasons behind the changing magnetic poles are not completely understood. Scientists have put forward two main theories to explain the phenomenon. The first suggests that movement of molten iron is causing the poles to shift. Essentially, the convection currents in the Earth's core that are caused by the heating and cooling of the iron can cause the magnetic field to fluctuate, which in turn could lead to the shifting of the magnetic poles. The second theory is that the magnetic field is weakening, which could cause a complete reversal of the poles. The Earth's magnetic field has been gradually weakening for several decades, and some scientists think this could be the cause of the magnetic pole shift. A reversal of the poles could have big consequences for the planet, as it would leave us exposed to harmful radiation and cosmic particles. So, That's what's up with the changing magnetic poles of the Earth. It's pretty concerning, but this phenomenon can't be ignored. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Which bizarre occurrence shocked you? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed today's video and found it interesting, then make sure to leave us a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to be always updated with the most exciting content as soon as it's uploaded. Thanks for watching. See you again soon in another video.